I remember when I was 11 years old, I remember my stepfather walking in and grabbing me by my shirt and throwing me to the ground. I remember the weight of his knee coming to my stomach, the pressure behind his hands as he pushed down on my shoulders, and the anger and intensity in his voice as he screamed in my face, "Who has the power?" I remember looking over and 5 feet away, seeing my mother, and she did nothing. I remember just being so upset, so hurt, feeling so abandoned and unloved. But after I got saved, I was on the gym room floor, broken before God. My walls torn down, completely open to whatever words He had for me. And what He chose to say was me, you have to forgive. You have to forgive your stepfather for abusing you, and you have to forgive your mother for abandoning you. And I remember screaming, so mad, why? Why is it that I have to forgive them for all the pain that they've caused me? I'm not the one at wrong here. Why do I have to let this go? That's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Why we as Christians have to forgive. My first point is this. If you can't forgive, you can't be forgiven. Christ forgave us and expects that we will forgive other people. In Mark 18:23-35, there's a story of a man who owed a huge, insurmountable amount of money to the king in his nation. He went before the king, groveling, on his hands and knees, begging, "Please, give me more time and I'll pay you your money," knowing full well he never could. This merciful king sat there, looking at this man on the ground who had nothing. And instead, he said, "No, go, I forgive you your debt." That same man got up, went home, and went to his friends who owed him a small amount of money, and said, "I need my money." And when he couldn't provide it for him, he had him thrown in prison, and he sold his family into slavery. Where was the forgiveness? How is it that this man that was forgiven so greatly by the king was unable to forgive a friend for such a small debt? Christ calls us to forgive as He forgave us. In common prayer, we all know, it says, "Forgive us of our sins as we forgive those who sin against us." Conditional thing, guys. He forgave you, He expects you to forgive others. My second point is this. It allows for the growth of love when you forgive. Both parts, the sinner and the forgiver. The forgiver has to look at that man and realize the pain that he's caused him and be willing to rise up above, to follow Christ and say, "No, I'm not going to let you, Satan, separate me from him because of the sin that he's done to me. I'm going to forgive and I'm going to continue to love him." The sinner, when he sees this forgiveness, when he sees this love that's outpouring from this man he's wronged, he's released of all the guilt from the sin he's caused, from the pain he's caused. And he loves that man back. And he can't help it. He just feels freedom from that man and has to love him. And my third point, and the most important point, the whole reason that all of us are here, is Christ forgave you and Christ forgave me. This man lived for 33 years, perfect, walked this earth, did no sin, not even a mind to sin, and still, He was beaten for your transgressions. He was bruised for my iniquities, and He hung on a cross so that we could all be forgiven. What if we started to follow Christ? What if we took up the example He set for us in Romans 8:34, where it says that He sits forever at the right hand of God, pleading for us? How would that change our nation? How would that change our nation if we started to follow Christ and forgive our brothers and sisters? If we stopped holding on to the anger and the bitterness from all the pain that's been caused to us? That would change our ministry. It would change our city. It would change our country, and it would change our world. What would happen if we truly began to love the way Christ loved and forgave those as He forgave? That would change everything. I had to forgive my mother and father, my stepfather. Who do you have to forgive?